Hello, Cleveland. Let's start this party right. Oh, get up, get up. These are really loud. There we go.
Hello, fucking Cleveland.
Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. We're Friends of Type, Twitter handle Friends of Type. Yeah. So let's get into this. For those of you who are hashtagging, if you know what that is, we suggest you do the following right now. Let me read through the following options. Are these guys done yet? Okay, sorry. I'll get on to it. We want Jennifer Daniel. Who doesn't? Yeah, give it up. And FOT, not as ripped as Tad Carpenter. So I'm going to give you guys a brief history of Friends of Type, since we're kind of this mystery group of 4 guys that just make content of lettering and type. So to give you a little backstory is we all worked at a branding agency. It was very big. We consider it like kind of being on a successful TV series. I'm Eric, by the way. This is Aaron, Dennis, and Jason. And at the time, Jason and Dennis were both working at this big branding agency. And then Aaron and I kind of came on as interns and got hired on full time. We just had an incredible experience. And this was about 10 years ago, when obviously we were really good looking then. We're falling apart now, so I have to apologize. And you know, we all met, we knew that we were birds of a feather, and we had all these common interests, and if our interests weren't the same as the other, they kind of became ours. And so we always shared sketches, we were always talking about lettering, and we didn't necessarily know that down the road that we'd all be working together on this like fun project. So, but like every great sitcom, there has to be an end. So we broke up the band, we moved around town, some grew ties with new families, others just went through some fucking growing pains. Me being the nomad that I am, I just got the itch to move, so I wanted to work on my tan, went to California. These guys were great, they were really nice. But of course, like any of us know that you move away from home and you just have that kind of reversal empty nest syndrome. So I went through the same way with all my buddies, these guys behind me, and being out there solo, I'm like, my buddies. So one day I had a horrible client meeting that I'm sure all of us had, and the one thing that I do is therapeutical is I sketch, and so I sketched this thing called thank you and fuck you. Scanned it, I sent it over to Aaron, he's like, that is incredible, you should post that somewhere. I'm like, where? Not being website savvy or all that crazy stuff most of you guys do. So he's like, well, let's just make one, and I please just pay attention to the timestamp. This is 7:58 p.m. So we're like, oh yeah, let's make something. So we go through like, oh, let's name this. Typochondriac was taken.
Type-orny?
Yeah, type-orny. So, and this is literally the iChat. We saved this iChat. It's 3 years old, and we're so happy that Aaron had this. So we were going through this, and then finally we just nailed on Friends of Type. And we're like, that's incredible. Most people are like, well, you guys do lettering, it isn't type, but Friends of Lettering, like, that sounds fucking awful. So we did Friends of Type, come on, it's only natural. So that's at 8:30, we come up with the name. Aaron's busting his butt working on the site. I just bust out this thing, Friends of Type, which becomes the mainstay of what you see our logo today, or wordmark. And at 3:58, it was done. Aaron launched this, just launched Friends of Type. 8 hours, my friends. Just, if you have an idea, just see it through. And luckily, Aaron had worked with this amazing type designer, Eric Olson from Process Type Foundry, and he basically retweeted or shot out to friendsoftype.com, and then it was like this.
Oh shit. I totally blew it, I'm sorry.
There it is. We realized that we looked at the Google Analytics and we had about 166 people, which meant more than our mom and close friends were looking at this site, and we're like, oh crap, evasive maneuvers. Like, Aaron, how are we gonna keep up with all this content? So that's when we assembled the crew. So we got the band back together and the rest was history, and I'm gonna hand it off to Aaron to describe the next chapter.
No, that's Dennis.
Oh, Dennis.
All right, so we're gonna get into the ugly. And by the ugly, what we mean is an unglamorous look into our minds and the process that we go through for getting inspiration for our posts and just sort of like typographic projects and experiments. We take inspiration from our obsessions. The thing that, beyond our friendship, I think the thing that drew us together at our jobs was our unhealthy obsession for weird, strange, and possibly disturbing things. And a lot of things that some people might find ugly. So the things that I'm into are shoes. I have an unhealthy obsession with shoes. I have hundreds upon hundreds of shoes.
It's true.
Yeah,
it really does.
It's true.
These are his shoes.
I don't know why, but I just do. Maybe colors, patterns, whatever. Stickers, ephemera, anything, whatever has graphics, colors, typography on it, I've collected for like almost 15, 20 years. I have shoe boxes filled with stickers, and these stickers or whatever flyers are just, I see them as like little pocket-sized cultural artifacts. So I want to hold on to them, and then, just besides that sort of like sense of keeping history with you, graphic history with you, it's also like cool to get ideas from. And then the thing that one of the main reasons why I became a designer, and I think maybe a lot of people here became designers, is because of music. For me, I love music. The reason why I became a designer is so I could make album covers. And I love rap music in particular. I love like the slang and the double entendres and like the visceral language being used. So I have like all sorts of vinyl tapes and CDs. But so these are just some of my tapes, and I just want to note that I don't own a tape player or a cassette player, and I haven't in almost 10 or 12 years, but I keep them because they're cool. So yeah, that's just sort of the things that I look at that influence me, and the way these sort of things kind of creep into my post. For FOT, or like I did like this series of discarded or mundane sort of things that people overlook. So discarded promo stickers for vinyl, I did like a whole series where I wanted to elevate them to art. So I actually took these like little things and I started painting them. This is Eric. Eric, Eric, he's a big kid. Very childlike demeanor. This is his baseball and basketball card collection. This is something he is super proud of. He always points out his super rare
Yeah, so there's a Barry Bonds up there. I was so excited, and then he did his steroid thing. So if I ever have kids, I have to explain that they have no college fund because of
Brilliant.
So yeah, like that, this is the sort of thing that Eric's sort of into. So from baseball cards to muscle men. And keep in mind, this is a recent photo. He took this photo maybe a week and a half ago, so he still has his stuff. Muscle men to garbage pail kids, and as a fifth grader, seeing this sort of stuff with the rad illustrations and the cool type and the potty mouth humor, I mean, it's sort of, it will make sense, you'll see. Yeah. And for FYI, these are all our images. This is all our shit. This is stuff that's collecting in our closets, in our homes, in our apartments, under our beds. This is not shit that we pulled from like Google or someone's Flickr account. We own this weird shit. So here's a peek into the mind of a man who's been influenced by that stuff. Eric, from poo to something super emo. And again, the potty humor. So this is all starting to make sense to all you guys, hopefully. Aaron, member of Friends of Type with a very keen eye for detail, and is sort of, he always walks down the street observing everything, and he always has a camera in hand, takes pictures of interesting and weird patterns that a lot of us will mostly miss. And this is like a series of really, I find personally kind of creepy photos that he's collected over the years of discarded strollers in New York City.
It's weird, they're everywhere. They're on every corner.
Who would have thought?
How many kids have lost their strollers? I don't understand.
So naturally being observant, this has caused Aaron to notice typography and environment, so he also has a massive amount of photographs of typography in our environment, which leads to posts using overlooked toy blocks. This is Aaron killing time on a subway platform and drawing type with rain from his umbrella. And this is Aaron just amusing himself.
Single-player Scrabble.
Single-player Scrabble. Weird dude. So Jason, growing up in California, we're all fans of skateboarding. And again, stickers and these sort of like pop culture sort of ephemera items that play into our psyche as little kids. And I want to point out the pristine quality of his sticker collection here. These stickers are more than 20 years old, but they are mint. No creased edges, like in acid-free sleeves. So from those mint stickers to his lifelong obsession with Legos, again, note his uncrushed corners on his boxes, just completely mint in box. And as a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, everyone loved Star Wars, but Jason, of course, took it to the next level and has, no joke, over 60 boxes
I just want to point out
of OG.
That's a small head Han Solo for anybody who knows.
OG.
You can buy it now for $4,000 on eBay, FYI.
True story, $4,000 on eBay.
Not yours.
So yeah, so this is, again, an example of some of his posts, how-to instructions, type made out of Lego, and this is something that Jason did for Star Wars Day, May 4th. So yeah, that's a look into skeletons in our closet and how we draw and look at everything around us and what people mostly overlook, possibly boring, mundane, discarded, ugly things and find inspiration in them. So I'm gonna pass it off to Aaron. How about that?
Thank you, friends. Cool. So we started posting together, the four of us, and one of the things that we realized is 166 hits was not actually a big deal. We weren't quite sure that was a big deal. And as we took these collections of old shit and making it into stuff that we thought was like pretty awesome, other people started looking. And as a total hack at web development and a website that I built in 8 hours on the cheapest hosting I could find, we ended up having these bad things happen. We had things like the host was down, and we started getting people on Twitter saying like, "What the hell, your website's down," and realizing that actually people that are engaged in what we're doing, we want them to be happy about coming to our website. And then even worse is when our MySQL database gets like this I don't know, some kind of malware, and Google starts like alerting everybody that Friends of Type is trying to give you malware. And that's not true. I was not trying to do this. This is nothing to do with me, but it comes off that way. And so like I started feeling this pressure. I was running my studio at the time, and I would drop everything to make sure that I could go in and try and fix this stuff. And fixing this stuff costs money. And we were just doing this for fun, and we weren't like looking to make any money off of it. So we decided to do a little bit of a fundraiser and print something together. And so to this point, all of our posts had kind of been like these battles. Like I'd post something, Dennis would post something based on it. And we had never really done anything that was meant to work together as a whole. So this is our first kind of stab at it. This is always play amongst friends. So we took this like bad thing happening, like our website starting to cost us money and go down and cause us stress, and turn it into like making something that we could hold and sell to people. And selling these prints still pays for our hosting. We upgraded the host, we got rid of the malware. You're all safe to visit the website, even on your iPhones. If we're getting a little long in the tooth, maybe it's more fun just to kind of poke through the site. Another thing that started to happen is that because we were bouncing this stuff off of each other, we actually started to realize that what we thought was like, oh, we'll just make a simple sketch, like the one that you doodled like right after a bad client meeting. We used to do this stuff all the time. We just like pass these sketches around, like 30-second things. But we would never let ourselves be, and we'd get better and better and better. And to the point where like a year later, our stuff was starting to look like ready to go. Like this is like a real project. This is something we might actually give like for a spot illustration that somebody calls us for, and we're just putting it on the website for free. And it got to be actually really hard to produce stuff fast enough. Our goal is like to do like 1 to 4 posts a day. And it got to the point where it's like, man, we can barely crank this stuff out one at a time because we don't want to let the quality slip because we're a little obsessive. So one of the things that we started to think is like, well, what if we started asking people to join us in this like little adventure of ours, friends of ours, people we admire. And we started getting these, we just reached out to some people. Justin Thomas K was the first one. And we said like, hey, why don't you like take over the site for a week so we can have a little vacation? Like when a new parent has the in-laws come or whatever, and it's like, watch the kids, we're out, we're single for a weekend. This is like us. Jay knows what I'm talking about. This is us just taking a little vacation, but also, again, making everything harder for ourselves, doing guest posts like introductions. So we like do, Eric did a lot of these, just like like the thing that would set that person up for success for that week. So we do this intro post. So that was a lot of fun, and it gave us like this cool body of like work, like admiring people that are on the internet that we liked, and kind of picking people that we didn't know to join us. And that was really cool because that like refreshed ourselves. It gave us new challenges, new goals to try to achieve. Gave us new like stylistic things we might experiment with. And we realized that about this time last year, actually, there was a little bit of heat coming our way because we had a lot of male guest posters. And we're like, well, that's because I guess we're dudes and we have dude friends. But that kind of like felt weird because somebody actually like called us swarthy, and we're like, what's swarthy? Is that like a kid in mascara with a Jack Sparrow costume? Because that's not how we think of ourselves. As like, we're not like crude guys. We're definitely not this kid. We think of ourselves more like this guy. We're like Trekkies with Sulu with fencing. So this is like, we're like it's Dennis right there. So we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like our style is not to like make some sort of like big effort, like get out there and start like a month of women or something, because that feels like it's almost overcompensating and almost like exaggerating the problem. What we thought was like, actually, the women that we know and the people and the women that we work with, they're actually more swarthy than we are. So we thought we would actually put it to the test. So we had this thing, shield your eyes if you can see through pixelation. We had this thing called the Battle of the Sexes, where we invited 5 women to battle us 4 guys and one of our friends, and just get filthy for like a week, get really pervy. So hands down, the women just destroyed us. Just really quickly, we had some nice posts from Megan Epplett, Mikel Orlana, Liz Meyer, Jessica Hish. Wait for it. Can you see it? Don't worry about it. Jennifer Daniel. Yeah. And just destroyed us. Like we had like this like kind of week like we're ripping off layer tennis voting thing, and we almost like stopped promoting it because it was so embarrassing. The women totally destroyed us. And so this stuff really gave us the energy to persist over the last 3 years, keeping it fresh, keeping new people coming in, having fun with it, and keeping it like that sort of spirit of pushing each other, even when we're in full-time jobs, even when we're, I just started at a startup, and Jay just had a kid, and it's the kind of thing where you just need to keep fresh. So we found these different techniques, and we've got this body of work now. This is every post. I programmed this up before we came out here. Every post on our website. It's 828 posts over 993 days. So we're pretty close, ish, to our one-a-day concept, all in all. So it's the kind of thing where we had some bad things happen. We always push it to try to make it good, and it always made us respond in a creative and fun way and keep it upbeat rather than sort of dwelling in things going wrong. So we've had the ugly, we've had the bad, and now it's time for Jay to talk about the good.
Yep. So hope that was a little insightful into the ugly and the bad. But with the good, with Friends of Type, we're fortunate enough that the site has given us opportunities to work with people we admire, and also work together, get that sitcom reunion show back together to work on dream projects. Our first interesting project, having Justin Thomas Kay recently became, this is a few years ago, but when he was appointed to be creative director for the Fader magazine, he asked us to contribute kind of a pay it forward to us for having him as a guest, to contribute to the last page of every issue. They ask a different artist to do a graphic interpretation of the theme of the magazine. He told us the theme was new, so we thought that was a great theme to play off of. What we did, we came up with the idea of having violators, for those who don't know, in package design are the new bursts that happen on the packaging. So with the four of us, since we have very distinct styles, finding a way to have all of us have a look that could mesh together, but then also give us the playground to have fun with our distinct styles. So then the common link was to have all of our different takes on new and hand render them. So these are a couple of process pics. And then we were done. We were like, sent it off to Justin. He loved it. It was, I think, like a couple hours to go to print, and then he dropped the bomb to tell us that he actually gave us the wrong word. It was actually now and not new. So then, oh shit. Eric being the lucky one to hand render it all, had to change all the E's to O's, and also
I had it say nuevo, so we had some Spanish in there, which doesn't really go to now or E's. So clever.
So thanks to Justin, we got it through. Someone even asked us to license this artwork to put onto an iPhone case, which never got produced, but
One got produced.
One got produced. Yeah, things we learned. When Justin calls, make sure he has the right word. Yeah, I think it was a paying job, but then he forgot to pay us, and then he left the position. So it was a fun way to get the reunion show back on air. Another fun project with us four. When the New York Times calls, never say no. Always take it. Even if the deadline is in 24 hours, and the fact that we have full-time jobs makes having iChat just invaluable, because we could just get on, and Eric in his studio in San Francisco has 2 clocks, one that says present, that's set to New York time, and one that says the past, which is San Francisco time, where he's located. So he's always on wherever we're on, which is good. But this job, he actually was on vacation. So it was up to Aaron and Dennis and I. And the assignment was it was a story on Sarah Palin's take on language. So the one idea, so the idea that we landed on was to have all our catchphrases and apply them to bumper stickers, which the New York Times approved given the short timeline. We had a phone call, went away for a couple hours, rendered up the stickers that we liked, gave it back to Aaron, who then, during his full-time job where he runs a studio, so all his employees are walking by like, what's this guy doing? And we were playing around like, do we stick it on a bumper, like render a bumper? But given the short amount of time, no. 18-hour deadline, keep it simple. And thank you very much, New York Times. One project that we were honored to be a part of was for Metropolis magazine. We were invited to illustrate the headers for their 30th anniversary, where they focused on the major architectural styles of the last 30 years. It was, another dream project. But again, us having full-time jobs, I think we were given actually a nice amount of time to come up with it and fine-tune it, but it all came together in the last like 4 days before the deadline.
It was all ignored in the last 4 days.
Or ignored. So we gave ourselves a constraint, again, given that we have 4 very distinct styles. The constraint was to use their font Scout and modify it in a certain way to represent each architectural style. So blobism, deconstructivism, prefab, and here's the collected group, which I think given the amount of time and the project, we're very happy with it. And also, I think the most important thing about Friends of Type for us is allowing us to have adventures like this, to come to speak to these conferences, having adventures together, the 4 of us, making new brothers and sisters, and yeah, I think it's been fun.
Final words, and then we can all get some fresh air. So looking back at 993 days, we realized that there's some sort of like connection or some sort of rally cry. So in the days that we're all working full time and we get like a New York Times project in, we always have to remind ourselves why we're doing this. And we've got this kind of mantra, and maybe you and your friends have something similar. If you don't, do it, because it is so fun to do, to fuck with your friends when they're being dicks. So we have it as push it, keep going, and when you've just hit that final destination or the finish, you push yourself even more, but make sure that you tell your friends always that you killed it. And when they kind of like soak that in and they're happy, you also tell them push it harder. And finally, never stand still, because in this industry that we are in, things happen by the second. And so just, if you have an idea, see it through. If you need friends, if they have resources you don't, ask them to come along and just create something, because we can make this place a beautiful world, and let's make it happen. And finally, find inspiration in everything and don't be afraid to fuck up. Thank you. We're Friends of Type. Can
I ask one thing? Is it working? It's my dad's birthday today, and I'm here instead of there. Can everyone help me say happy birthday, Dave? Yeah. All right, ready? This is the camera here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Dave! All right, thanks, Dave.